people don't take writing seriously anymore. And by writing, I mean just a writer and a computer screen sitting down, just focusing on the story at hand. Too many people are really good marketers, or they're really good visionaries for world building or whatever, and they let all of that subsume the writer crafting a good story. Just one good story. I don't care what kind of universe you're trying to build. I don't care what kind of world building you're trying to do. I don't care how many books down the line you're foreseeing this happen and that happen with this character. And, writers love to talk about that. Oh, let me tell you about what I'm writing. And then there's this, and there's this, and there's that, and there's this. Cool story, whatever, great. Do you have a solid story? One single solid story, beginning, middle, and end, act 1, act 2, act 3, character development, tension, pacing. Have you crafted a single good, well-told story? If you haven't done that yet, shut the flip up. I mean, really, that's and I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, it's fun for writers to talk about their ideas, and that's fine. But too many people are getting traction on hyping an idea rather than writing a freaking story. This is my problem with, I'll just say it. This is my problem with the Ripperverse. I've thought more and more deeply about this, and there's no solid story. I mean, beginning to end, a solid, wonderful story. There's all the freaking hype in the world. There's all the amazing marketing. I mean, raking in money hand over fist. There's all of this. There's all these great people involved. There's all of the, some of them anyway. There's all of this, what's going to be, what's going to come, what's going to, oh, wait, don't miss what's developing. How long is it going to take for a single solid story to develop? It's not in the issues that are coming out right now. The issues that are coming out right now are like shining a light on a little piece of a painting, promising us that one day we'll get all the puzzle pieces of that painting and we'll be able to see the big picture. That's not something you can do with comics these days. You can do it with Marvel and DC traditional comics that were coming out every month, and stuff like that. Yeah, you could do that. But for indie comics, that's not the way our system works. That's not the way the distribution works. It's a really interesting case study. I was thinking about this to take the Ripperverse and compare it to the Nolanverse. And I think those are the two good ones to compare to, because if you look at other things like Shane Davis or Ethan Van Sciver, they're telling a specific like 3 or 4 part story or whatever. They're not building a big shared universe necessarily. But the Nolanverse, Compass Comics Nolanverse, is building a shared universe, and the Ripperverse is trying to build a shared universe. The Nolanverse, each of those books that have come out are solid stories, beginning to end. Some of them are better than others, but from the Chinu to the Aliens at the Alamo, Ghost of Matacumbe Key was amazing. The Joe Frankensteins are wonderful. And at the end of Ghost of Matacumbe Key, we finally start to see really a lot of the connections happen, and it's like, oh, this is a bigger world, and that's how you do it, because he's focused on solid stories. If there are questions left, they're not questions that hurt the story. They're questions that make you curious and more invested in the greater universe. When I look at a Ripperverse story, there are so many questions that hurt my experience of the story. Like, well, wait, well, who is that? Well, why am I supposed to care about that? Wait, you'll get it in like episode 15, 5 years from now or something. That's such a rookie move from a writer's perspective. And I'm not calling Chuck Dixon a rookie or Mike Barron a rookie or anybody like that. I'm really laying this at the feet of Eric July himself, because he doesn't strike me as the type of writer who's gotten a lot of editorial feedback before he really put this stuff out there, his greater idea of it anyway. And I'm just saying that from the evidence on the page, because this is a common rookie mistake for writers. They will give you a draft, and I'm speaking as an editor because I do professional editing. I'm a writing professor. I've done, freelance editing. And I commonly see this where somebody gives you a draft, a creative writing, whether it's a comic script or a movie script or a novel or whatever, they give that to you and they say, and there's all these little Easter eggs in it. This is the J.J. Abrams style, put your mystery boxes in there. And I'm thinking, you've got way too many threads that me as a reader, I'm supposed to be holding on to. Okay, I don't really know what that means yet. So remember that and hold on to that. All right. How does that fit in? Okay. All right. No, he tells me I'm going to find out later. Okay. So I'll hold on to that thread too. And by the end of the story, you've got all of these loose threads that you're just hoping maybe one day will be tied together or developed into something. And I tell the writers of these manuscripts all the time, no, you got to scale way back on the mystery. You got to focus on telling one distinct story. Give me that Freytag pyramid, something I can follow and be invested in. And then you can add things that hint to the other things. So if comic books, for example, you have your main plot, your A plot, and then you have a B plot, a subplot, which kind of follows along a little less developed, but by the time the A plot is all wrapped up, the B plot steps in and becomes the A plot, and that's how to write a good series, whether it's comics or television or anything like that. And I'm not seeing that from a lot of these things. And that's what, that's going back to the Universal Monsters. That's what they were trying to do when they were trying to make the Dark Universe. And that's what Zack Snyder was trying to do by throwing everybody into, it's like the second freaking movie, of quote unquote Superman. And, we got to bring a bunch of people in, and no, hard pass. Develop a story. Tell me a good, solid story if you want me to take you seriously as a writer. I don't care about your world building. When I open up a new series or open up a new book or a new comic, world building does have its place. And if you're a crap world builder, yeah, you may need to improve your chops on that. But far too many people just want to love to talk about their world building to you. No, earn the right to tell me about your world building. Tell me your story first, and it needs to be a complete story that takes me on a ride. That tells me about these characters, invests me in these characters, makes me care about these characters. It doesn't need to be a little puzzle piece. Look how cool this puzzle piece is. Look at the colors. Look at the art in this. Isn't there so much cool things going on in this puzzle piece? Yeah, but how does it? I mean, where is this? What is the part of that? You gotta wait. You gotta wait. No, I'm not gonna wait. Screw you. I'm gonna go find another story that gives me more than just a tiny little piece. Anyway. Darth Enigma says, I'm good at world building, but I suck at writing. Well, I don't know. I've never read anything you've done, Darth Enigma. So, but let's just say that's really true. Then it's good that you realize that. Okay. And that doesn't mean that there's no hope for you. Cause I think I'm just using your comment here as a way to maybe bring a little hope to some people who are thinking, maybe you're thinking, oh crap, I do that all the time. I talk about my stories, but have I actually sat down and written something? Don't be discouraged. Just when I say this, I'm meaning to try to encourage you to sit down and do the writing. Get on the writing. It's great and it's fun to think about the things you're going to write about. It really is. That's fun, and it's great to daydream. But you have to discipline yourself to get one solid story out there. One way to think of it, and maybe some people will better attack it this way. Don't think of it so much so in the terms that you have to get a big novel done first and then your world building can come. Think about Tolkien. Tolkien was a world builder. That's all he wanted to do. He was having a blast world building. He stumbled into writing The Hobbit, and then people wanted more stories, more narratives about the hobbits in particular. He was just wanting to write his mythology, write his Silmarillion. That's where he was, his heart was. And it shows in some of his prose. I mean, he's not quite as good of a crafter of a tale as like his contemporary C.S. Lewis was, but he's the better world builder in terms of the lore and the really rich, deep. I mean, I love C.S. Lewis's too, but think about, okay, it's not so much I've got this novel and then from it, or this one story, and then from it needs to spring the world building. So I can't think about the world building yet. No, go ahead and have all the fun you want with your world building. Take all the notes, design all the characters, write all the maps, whatever you want. But pick little places or time periods, geographic locations, certain historical moments in your world building or whatever, and go in at first and just try and write a short story about that one event. And in that short story, imagine that somebody's this isn't like the first thing that they're going to read and this is going to springboard them into your world. No, just try and concentrate on writing just even a short story about this one event that's in your world, and you might write it first and you might it might kind of lose the reader because they don't know a lot of different things. That's okay. That can be fixed in revisions. And if you get, maybe one of those short stories can develop into a longer narrative, or maybe you end up with just a lot of different stories that take place in this universe. And if you put in the work to revise them enough, then they can end up being, a good little collection or compilation or something like that. So yeah, that's just trying to finish off that idea there.